Hello and good evening. My name is Chinekwore from Learning World. Learning World is your partner in raising outstanding children. We are on a mission to provide parents with tools and resources that will help them proactively parent their children so they will raise them to become outstanding and well balanced. Please, as you come in, kindly indicate that you're here and let us know where you are connecting from. We welcome you to Raising Outstanding Children's live session. You're welcome as you come in. Just let us know where you are logging in from. We're excited to have you on this live broadcast today. And this evening, we are going to be looking at a topic that I tagged How to Discipline Your Children Effectively. Thank you for joining in, and I hope that this session will be a rewarding and promising time for you all. So let me know where you're connecting from. I want to connect with you. I want to know where you're joining in from, and I'm grateful to you that you chose to spend time with us this evening. So like I said, the title of our session for this evening is How to Discipline Your Children Effectively. Without doubt, discipline is very important in raising outstanding children. If you agree with me that discipline is important, let me see a yes in the comment section. If you agree with me that discipline is a topic that has to be discussed, let me see a yes in the comment section. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you feel that this is an important topic, let me see a yes in the comment section that it is necessary for parents to arm themselves with the tools to enable them discipline their children effectively. Thank you. Hello, please, can you give me a hello? I just want to be sure that you can hear me. If you're here and you can see me, you can hear what I'm saying, please let me know. If you can hear me, please let me know. All right, awesome. So the topic for today's session is how to discipline your children effectively. And I said that discipline is very essential in our journey towards raising children that are outstanding. And I felt that we should have this discussion on why discipline is very important. And one reason that I decided to talk on this topic this evening is because some parents have reached out to me to ask me some questions about how to discipline their children effectively. Parents have expressed their frustration with disciplining their children because in some cases it seems as if nothing is working. In some cases they get very emotionally charged and they're not getting the results they want. It's really actually quite frustrating. And a few days back, I put out a post right here on our Raising Outstanding Kids Facebook group to ask the people whether it is okay to flog or not to flog children. And I got a variety of responses. Some people said that it's okay to flog the children. Others say it depends on what offense it is that they committed. Someone said he will flog because he was flogged. And we had a number of parents that said that they used to think that flogging was the only way to discipline children, right? But they found out that that was not the only way. So today, let us look at this. The first question I want to ask you is, what is the essence of discipline? Think about it. What is the essence of discipline? And is discipline the same thing as punishment? You know, when some people had said that they will flog because they were flogged, I started thinking about myself and a lot of my peers when we were growing up. A lot of us were flogged. We were flogged over and again. And then I'm now wondering, what did the flogging actually produce the required results? Yes, by the grace of God, a lot of us turned out right. But if you think about it, what did the flogging really do for you? I'm not saying you should flog or you should not flog, but in the course of this discussion, we are going to look at what determines how you discipline your children. But when I think about it, what flogging did for a lot of us was that it made a number of us lie. Out of fear, we started lying. If that was the case with you or with anybody you know, please let me know in the comment section. Because of the fear that was instilled in you through flogging, when you do something wrong, you will not own up to it because you don't want to get flogged. On the other hand, some people got toughened up after a while and the flogging did not really make any difference. So the question is, why do we want to discipline? Do we discipline because we are upset and we want to express our displeasure? Or do we discipline because we want our children to learn and do better going forward? That is why a lot of children, when they are at home, they appear as saints, but once they go to school, once maybe they are in boarding school or they get to university, they might just stray, especially for children that were raised in under very strict conditions. So that got me thinking about a verse in scripture. The book of Romans chapter 12 said something. It said that we should not be conformed to the world, but we should be transformed by the renewing of our mind. I found out that a lot of times, and while we were growing up, we were punished. And what the punishment did for us was that it made us conform. What does conformation mean? It means aligning to what people want you to do, aligning to what people expect of you. But that doesn't mean that that is what you believe in. That doesn't mean that you're convinced that that is the way you should act. And then you just align for the period that you are under that influence that is making you to conform. But when you are out of that influence, you find out that because there wasn't any genuine change from inside, you revert back to how you were before. Whereas, like the Bible says, rather be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation is what comes from within. It is when a heart is changed. And what causes the heart to change is renewing of the mind. How does the mind get renewed? The mind is renewed through acquiring knowledge, through information, through understanding. That is how the mind is renewed. So what happens is that discipline is a tool to bring about transformation, a tool that will help children to understand who they are, what they are supposed to be doing, to be convinced from within their hearts that this is the right way to go. And ultimately, it might not happen immediately. They will start walking in that right path. One of the mistakes a lot of us make as parents is that we feel that our children are not reasonable, we feel that our children don't think, we feel that we've spoken to them over and again, and they still go back to do the same thing that we have complained about over and again. And then we keep on talking, shouting, and without getting results. And then with all the shout and talk not giving you results, it will lead to frustration, and you take out your frustration most times by flogging the children. You take out your frustration by hitting the children. You take out your frustration by becoming physical with the children. And what happens? The children will see you as being angry. The children will see you as being a shouting parent. The children might just block you off. You are talking, but they're not really listening to what you are saying because you have become a nag and a burden in their lives. So the question is, what is the right thing to do? How is the right way to go about this discipline? At what stage do you start the discipline? How does discipline then differ from punishment? I must say that I used to be a culprit, and I'm still work in progress. There was a time my children will drive me up the wall and I'll scream, I'll raise my voice, I'll really get upset. And at the point, they nicknamed me SM. SM means shouting mom. That SM wasn't giving me the result that I needed. That was the truth. But when I started this journey of deliberate and proactive parenting, I found out that I wasn't going about this the right way. And then on the other hand, my husband used to get the children to do what he wanted them to do. without having to hit them, without having to flog them, without having to exert any form of punishment per se, but because he was able to reach their hearts. There was a post I made, I think a week ago or thereabouts, and I talked about parenting the heart of a child. One of the roles of parents is to mold children, to instruct children, to teach children, to model right before the children. That is actually difficult work. And sometimes the easier route is to allow the children to allow your emotions to rule you and to react by hitting or something when a child does something that we do not approve of. And another thing I noticed is that sometimes the children don't even know that what they are doing is wrong, because nobody has actually taught them that this is the right way to do stuff. And then you just see that they've done something and you start overreacting. Someone said something one day. She came, in this COVID and period with the lockdown and children were studying online. She just came one day and saw her 8-year-old child watching something on the internet. And the child was really very excited about what she was watching. But when she looked at what the child was watching, she found out that another child was, showing off content that wasn't right for a child of that age. But the 8-year-old child did not even understand that there was anything wrong with what the child was doing. She was just enjoying the songs that the child was singing and was singing along with the person on the screen. And the mother came and got very upset with the child and started shouting. And then now the child started crying because she didn't know she was doing anything wrong. And that is what we normally do sometimes. Because we know, we don't understand that sometimes our children do not know as much as we do. And so we react based on how we feel they should act. I'm not saying now that they're not children that go out of their way to misbehave. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes we find out that the reason why some children misbehave is because they don't know better. So now the first thing I want to say now is that discipline starts as soon as the child is born. And discipline is different from punishment. Punishment is a punitive reaction towards an action that is not acceptable to you. A lot of punishments can be corporal, and then of course we have other kinds of punishment like withdrawal of privileges, timeouts and things like that. Now you have parents in different categories. You have the parents that are quite punitive. They punish a lot, they shout a lot, they are the bosses, and the children, avoid them. They don't connect with those children. They don't parent the hearts of those children. They don't know what is going on in the lives of those children. And you'll be surprised what the children can get up to when they are not around the influence of the parents. And then on the other hand, you have the children that are raised in a permissive environment where anything goes, where the world revolves around them. Parents do things to please the children. They don't want the children's tantrums, they want peace to reign, and then they go overboard. Then we have parents that oscillate from one extreme to the other. Sometimes they are quite extreme with their punishments, other times they are extremely permissive, but they are not consistent. But ideally, discipline should be about consistency, it should be about kindness, it should be about firmness, it should be about modeling, instructing, and correcting, so that the children will know the right thing to do at every point in time. That is what discipline should be about. So what I want to say is that discipline starts from once a child is born. I always say that it's very important for couples, parents, to have parenting plans and to have family value systems. What are parenting plans and the systems supposed to do for you? It helps the family know, everybody in the family know what is acceptable in the family and what is not acceptable, what their targets are, what their goals are, why the things that are acceptable and why not. Because what happens is that when there is no clarity, sometimes children are not held up to any level of any standard per se, and then they will derail, and then there's a problem. Sometimes as parents, we do not take time to explain the consequences of why children should do something or the other. So that it's where the problem starts from. So the primary thing, first of all, is to start with having a value system, and right from when the children are quite small, inculcate the system, the values in them. By your actions, by what you model, by what you say, you do it consistently over time. And then with regards to discipline, it is said that discipline should fall, that there are 3 R's that must be obeyed in discipline. First of all, when you want to discipline a child for an action, whatever the consequence you want to apply must be related to what it is that the child did. It's not, for example, that the child left the sweater in school and then you punish the child by saying no TV time. What is the relationship between TV time and sweaters? There should be a relationship between the disciplinary action you choose to take, between the consequence you want to implement and the action that the child took. Then discipline has also to be respectful. Whatever consequence, you should understand that your child is a human being. Sometimes we trample on our children's emotions, we speak to them anyhow, we hurt their feelings. These things can affect their self-esteem on one hand, and it can make them, distance themselves from us. So whatever disciplinary measure you must take must consider the person. It must be mutually respectful. You should respect the child and also respect you. So you just don't, for example, come and decide to call the child names just because you want to visit them, to discipline them. And then whatever consequence also has to be reasonable. You can't say because of one small misbehavior you now cause the child to do something that is unnecessarily too much for the child. So now, how should we discipline children? We should discipline children by making them understand the consequences of their actions. We should discipline children by helping them to learn from the consequences of their actions. Now, it's not every time that the consequence might be a big deal to the children, but that's the place to start. The place to start is by allowing them experience the consequence. Let me give an example. Let's say your child, for example, scatters the living room, or your child pours water on the floor, and then maybe you come in and you see the water on the floor, and then you get upset and you just start shouting. Maybe you shout at the child, or you spank the child, and then after doing that you call your help or someone, or you yourself will just go and clean up the mess. That is, you've punished the child by spanking the child, you've punished the child by shouting at the child, but you've not disciplined the child, because the essence of discipline is to instruct, is to teach, is to correct, so the child will learn from the disciplinary process and not repeat the action tomorrow. So if, for example, you come in and you see that the child, for example, poured water, you correct the child and then get the child to mop or clean up the mess by himself or herself. This is the natural consequence. This is a natural consequence. So one way of disciplining the child is by allowing the child to experience the natural consequence. For example, a child refuses to do the school homework or something and all that and gets to school. Don't try to defend the child. Don't try to cover up for the child. Don't try to, maybe the child left the school books at home because he or she did not pack his bag when he's supposed to pack his bag, and he goes to school and forgets something. He should bear the brunt of that action. That is discipline. As a parent, you might be tempted to want to send the book back to school to him. You want to try to see how to solve the problem, to explain to the teacher. But no, let the child bear the consequence so that tomorrow he will remember to pack his bag when he's supposed to pack his bag. That brings me to the second aspect of discipline, which is the logical consequences that follow some action. It is only logical that if you do this, this will be the consequence. Let the children understand consequence and the logical pattern that some things follow. So how do you achieve that? I gave an example just now about someone that forgot his book at home because he did not pack his bag when he was supposed to pack his bag. And then he goes to school, and as a parent, I'm saying you shouldn't take the book back. This is presupposing that there is already a system at home that makes a child know that the night before you go to school, you're supposed to check your timetable, see all the books you need to take to school, and pack your bag. And then when you go to school, you won't have a problem. And then when you don't do what you're supposed to do, you bear the consequence. So one mistake we make as parents is that because we don't have structure in place, because we don't have systems in place, because the children do not have any values, they won't even know when they are missing it. So we should help our children, because our plan is not for them to fail. We want to help them. We want to help model the right thing to them. We want to teach them right. So help them by having systems in place. For example, if they know that they're supposed to do this at a particular time, they will understand that they deserve some kind of discipline if they don't do it at that right time. Let's say, for example, rather than, for example, you're banning your child from watching TV, maybe your child just does something, say no TV time. No. Let's, for example, say that you have a process at home that says if you don't wash the plates, you can't watch TV, or you have to wash the plates first before you can watch TV, or you have to finish doing your homework and then you can go outside to play. You have a system in place. So a child wants to go out to play, and you tell the child, of course, you know you can't go out to play yet until you have done what you're supposed to do. So these are logical consequences, and you can only apply logical consequences when you have systems in place. That's why I'm saying you cannot come and correct a child or punish a child for something the child does not know is an offense. If the child does not know that he should wash his plates before playing, or he should do his homework before watching TV, you can't come and complain that he's watching TV when he hasn't done his homework, when there is no system in place to let them know what they're supposed to do. Then another thing that we also have to consider is that we need to talk less and act more. This is for me, and this is for everybody. Talk less, act more. Like I said, when you talk too much, your children will see you more or less as a nag, and at a point they will just blank off what it is that you're saying. They don't want to hear what it is that you're saying. So there's this thing I do. Sometimes I'll tell the children, take out this or something, and then you come out and see that thing is still there. Talking less and acting more means that, for example, you tell your child it's time to go and have your bath, and the child is still there. You don't come back and say again, go and have your bath. You just march the child into the bathroom to have their bath. Less talk, more action. Your children are fighting over who will play with the PS4 or something. They are struggling. You've told them that they have to settle amicably, and they don't want to. They want to fight. What do? You remove the object of contention. Take away the PS4 from them. Talk less, act more. There is no point coming in to shout, why are you people fighting? Stop fighting, stop fighting. I've said it before, stop fighting. If you cannot know how to share your PS4, then by all means, don't play it. No, you're just talking, and it's not going to give you results. Talk less, act more. Remove that object. And that is where, for example, a child plays with his or her toys and leaves the toys scattered and doesn't pack it up after themselves. They should know that that means that they are not yet ready to have those toys. Because if they can't pick up after themselves, that means they are not yet qualified to use those toys. So you don't have to talk much. All you do is you remove the toys and keep it where they cannot get to it, and let them know that when they are ready to pick up after themselves, they will get the toys back. So the three things I've said so far is that you should allow natural consequences to take its place. You should use logical consequences, and for that to work, you must have systems set in place, schedules, family values that everybody understands. And then thirdly, like I've said now, talk less, act more. So now another thing a mistake we make is that we might be in the room and the children are in another room, and then you're shouting from there, go and do your homework, or go and wash your plates or something. Come close to where they are. Make sure you have their attention and say what you have to say. Say it once. Then after saying it, if peradventure they do not act immediately, you remove whatever it is that is a hindrance or a distraction. Like I said, talk less, act more. If I'm making sense, please can you just probably say something in the comment section? If you agree with me, let me know. If you think that what I'm saying is not totally what it's supposed to be, also let me know. Let's just have the discussion. If there's any striking thing that you have heard, also let us know by pointing it out in the comment section. So talk less, act more. And then I've always talked about family meetings. I've always talked about family meetings. I believe that family meetings are very important. Like I said, sometimes parents believe that, act as if children are unreasonable. Children are actually not unreasonable. Sometimes they act based on what they know. They act based on their level of understanding. So as parents, we have to always create time to make our children understand why some things are the way they are, why they should do some things and why they shouldn't do some things. Sometimes we don't give our children reasons. We just come and tell them, don't do this because we don't do it that way. Why? Go to bed by 8 o'clock. Why go to bed by 8 o'clock? Children are reasonable human beings, I must say. They are reasonable. So we have to learn to engage with our children, connect with their hearts, give them the knowledge that causes their heart to be transformed, so they would align to the things that you want them to do. So I give this example. A child does not want to go to bed by 10. You can show them the need for getting a certain number of hours of sleep every day. If you tell them, for example, that you need 9 hours of sleep so that you will not be sleepy in the morning, you will not be tired and all that. And then you ask them, when do you have to wake up in the morning to be able to have your breakfast, finish doing your breakfast, have your devotions, do your house chores, get ready for school? You're brainstorming with them. They are thinking, and they see that they have to wake up at least by 6:30 to be able to finish doing everything that they need to do before going to school. Okay, fine. So you have to wake up by 6:30. And if your body, as science has told us, needs at least 8.5 hours of sleep every night, what time do you need to go to bed? Or 9 hours of sleep? What time do you need to go to bed to be able to get the adequate number of hours of sleep that you need? And they'll tell you. They are understanding the logic, the reasoning behind them having to go to bed at a certain time. Discuss with them. They are reasonable human beings. So tomorrow when you're telling them, do this or don't do that, they will understand why you are saying so. And then that doesn't mean that there is a one-off, that is a one-off thing, that you just say it once and then everything falls in place. No, it's all about consistency. As parents, we need to keep on following up. We need to keep on encouraging them. We need to keep on correcting them. But what I'm trying to say is that we should be careful about punishing as against disciplining. They are not exactly the same thing. Punishments most times arise from a place of anger. You are frustrated. You are angry. And because of that, you react. You hit the children. And why this is not helping the children is because they've not learned. They've not learned why they shouldn't do what they did. And it separates them from you. They don't connect with you. They don't want to do the things that you want them to do. They will conform for as long as they are in front of you, but there's no transformation from their hearts. So once they are away from you, those things that they shouldn't do, they will start doing them. That is why it is very important that you talk with them, you engage with them, make them bear the consequences of their actions. I've said it, sometimes we flog, sometimes we beat, but they don't still get to bear the consequence. You can flog a child because he was watching TV without doing his own work, and tomorrow the child still has access to the TV. What changed? The only thing was that he had some pain at a certain time, and that was it. So now the question is there any role for spanking? Is there any role for beating? Is there any role for flogging in raising children? And I want to ask you, do you think that flogging has any role to play in raising children? Please, if you think so, can you kindly share in the comment section what you think about flogging? While I will say, from my own opinion, while I will say that flogging might not at all times be the best solution, but if there is a need, maybe you see the cause. There are a lot of people that speak angrily against flogging, but research has shown that those people only focus on people that have taken the flogging to an extreme level, to the point that the children become violent, to the point that they've inflicted pain or injury on the children and all that. That one is not right. That one stems from a place of anger. That one stems from a place of the parent not being able to master his or her own emotions. That is not right. So I want to ask you, if you want to flog a child, if you want to spank a child, ask yourself, why do you want to flog that child? Why do you want to spank that child? Are you doing it because you want to correct the child, or are you doing it because at that point in time your emotions are really very high and you need to vent, you need to let off steam? And how do you flog? Do you flog out of anger? It's all about the strategy. Even if you want to flog, you have to wait till you've calmed down, because most times we flog because we are upset. But if you have a rethink and calm down and think about it, you see that you might not have that urge to flog anymore. You might see that talking to the child might produce the results. But if you feel that you must flog, let there be a system to the flogging. First of all, let them understand why you're being flogged. I will not discountenance flogging, because even the Bible says it, that foolishness abounds in the heart of a child, but a spanking will drive the foolishness away. But now my question is, what is the approach? And at what age? Because there are when children are younger, sometimes reasoning might not work out very well with them. And at that time, there's something called conditioned reflexes. The children might not understand what you're saying when you want to reason with them. But for example, if they know, for example, if they are toddlers, that when they go close to this particular glass or something, you tap them. And you do it over and again, it becomes, their minds become conditioned, and they will not go close to that particular glass because they will know the consequence that follows. That's a conditioned reflex. And at that stage, really, it's not very easy to reason with children. Regardless, we have to start the reasoning process from when they are quite young. And like I say, you don't flog to inflict pain. You don't flog to inflict an injury on a child, and you mustn't flog. And if you must flog, do it in a reasonable manner and let the child understand why you're doing it. Tell them, if you know that you're doing it for this reason, that it's out of love, that you wouldn't want them ordinarily to feel this pain, but because of one reason or the other, you show them the why. But like I said, flogging might not be necessary if you have done your homework or you're doing your homework. So yes, flogging, I wouldn't say it is good or it's bad. The Bible says that a little spanking drives away foolishness. But my point is, know how you're doing it. Do not be extreme. It says here that flogging is necessary, but not all times. Once they see cane, they respect themselves. So the point I'm trying to make is this: they shouldn't respect themselves because they see the cane. They should respect themselves because from their hearts they understand that they shouldn't do this and they should do that. Because if it is the flogging that is keeping them in line, when they are outside the ambit of your influence, they will still do those things. They only will not do it because of the cane. They're not doing it because they feel it's wrong or right. They're only doing it because they don't want mommy to flog them. And is that what you want? So I ask you, what is the essence of the discipline? Are you disciplining your children because you want them to learn? Or are you disciplining your children because you just want them to align for that moment? So let's just think. That's what I'm saying. Let us always think about the process. Let us always think about what we want to achieve. Someone else is asking, do you flog your children? To be quite honest, I have one or two occasions, but I came to the point that before I flog them, as at then, I'll let them know why I want to flog them. And I'll tell them that I don't even want to flog them, but I have to eat because they have persistently done this over and again after being corrected. But to be quite honest, for a number of years now, I've not had any cause to do it. And I've realized I've not been shouting as I used to before. And I've also come to notice that my children, when you reason with them, they understand why you are saying this and why you're doing that. and they cooperate. These days, for example, I have one child that wouldn't want to do her homework, and then she always says that it seems as if everything is always about schoolwork. So I had to call her and ask her, and tell her this: your schoolwork is something that you must do. There is no way you go on and on without doing your schoolwork. So I want us to reach a compromise. Let us agree. What time do you want to be doing your schoolwork in the day? What time do you want to do your tasks? Let us agree on that time. So if we agree that it's between 4 and 6, for example, I wouldn't talk to you about it until it is 4 o'clock. Or it is only when it is 4 o'clock and you don't do it that we know there is a problem. And then she agrees. And then you find out that because you have reached that consensus with the child cooperates with you. So that is why we shouldn't be bossy parents. There has to be that place of firmness and kindness. Let them understand the why, and then let them agree with you on how and the when. So that when you know that you are all in agreement, they will know that they will not renege when it's their turn to comply. Someone said, Amaribe said, however, if we are so polite and nice at home, how do we prepare to handle harshness they will meet outside? Well, so what do you suggest they do instead? We become harsh at home? Really? Do you suggest, Amara, that the children should be harsh, or there should be harshness at home? Well, it's all part of life. That is why we shouldn't overprotect our children. Because I've had cases where I had a child of mine that came to complain to me over time about a particular teacher he felt was like this and like that and was mean and everything. I told him 2 things. First, I told him for the sake of his academics, he can't afford not to like any teacher. Because when a child does not like a teacher, it will affect the child's performance in that subject. And then secondly, I told him something. Wherever you go in life, you will have people that are like that. Not everybody will be like you. So you have to accommodate, you have to understand. You don't believe or expect that everybody will like you. Don't expect everybody will be nice to you. But that shouldn't change the who that you are. So we shouldn't, because the world is harsh, raise our children to become harsh too. Let them understand that this might be the world standard, but that is not who you are, and that is not, and show them why they shouldn't be that way. Hilda says, I think flogging comes with their age. I don't expect to flog a 15-year-old. A little younger or older, it will make you distant from them. Their development stages or age come with the form of correction. Yes, Hilda, I had said that earlier, that for younger children who you might not be able to reason with, you might need to spank. And then for older children, when you have tried to teach and correct and all that, and they are still not getting it, even when you want to flog, don't flog out of anger. Make sure you are calm. Be sure that flogging is the only solution. Explain to the child why you want to flog the child before you flog the child, and still let the child know that you love the child and you correct the child out of love. The Bible says that God chastises us because he loves us. So that, I think, that is my own opinion. But for goodness sake, there must be a time that the child should not be flogged, because like I said, any kind of correction should respect the child. It should be respectful towards the child that the correction is being imparted on. So how does it make the child feel eventually? But there's a way you explain to the child, and even if you flog the child will experience remorse. So my question is, when you correct your child, when you are trying to discipline your child, what is the child's reaction afterwards? Is there remorse? Is there anger? Children get angry when they don't understand. Children will get angry with correction when they don't understand, or when they feel it's not justified. That is why I said, even if you're going to flog, there has to be some discussions and explanations. But I feel that is not, it doesn't have to get to that point, really. If we do our homework well, chances of it getting to that point is actually minimized. So, in summary, what I want to say is that we should not mix up discipline with punishment. Punishment is just inflicting some kind of corrective measure, as it were, and most times it comes from a place of anger, it comes from a place of frustration, it comes from a place of not being able to manage our emotions as we should as parents. Most times punishment causes children to conform, and it doesn't bring about transformation. And that is not what we want. The whole essence of disciplining children is to raise them to be better, is to teach them, is to model rights to them, is to correct them. And the whole essence of discipline is to cause a transformation, to cause the children to come to the point where they know that they should do this, and not just because you are there, not because you're going to flog them, not because you're going to do whatever it is that will hurt them, but because it will be of benefit to them or to the next person. And I've also said that any disciplinary measure you want to impart must be related to the offense, must be reasonable, and must be respectful, mutually respectful, both to the parents and to the children. And we should be careful about punishment, because it could cause our children to close up. It could cause a disconnection between us and our children. It could cause our children to lie to us. It could cause our children to be far away from us. And there is no guarantee that that thing you want them to do, that thing you believe is right, is what they will do when you are not around them, to discipline them. And I want to encourage all of us to explore the options of natural consequences and logical consequences. Let us also consider talking less and acting more. You want a child to do something, match the child to go and do that thing, especially after you have established systems and routines in place, so they know what is expected of them, what is right and what is wrong. It is not right to discipline a child when you have not taught the child. If the child doesn't know, the child doesn't know. Take the pains of teaching. Teaching is not a one-off thing. It's about continuous engagement. And that is why we always encourage parents to have family meetings, times of connecting. That's why we always preach about parenting the hearts of children. Children are not unreasonable. Children understand. But as parents, we should also pay the price of teaching them, reasoning with them, respecting them. I hope this session has been useful. And like I said, I wouldn't go against what the Word of God says. It says that spanking can drive away foolishness from the heart of a child. But I say, even if you must do that, you should hardly ever do so, even if you must. And ensure that you are not doing it from a place of anger or a place of lack of emotional control. So as parents, let us learn to master our emotions. So by the time your anger levels have calmed down, or by the time you have explored every other option of consequences, and then you see that there is no other alternative but flogging, and I doubt that that time would ever come. If that time comes, calm down, call the child, let the child know that you actually love the child, let the child know why you're doing what you're doing, and then do it in a respectful manner. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful that you joined us today. I hope this session was impactful. I hope it was useful. If it is, please let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to invite others to join this group. And if you feel that there is anything you want to add, if anything you want to contribute, anything I might have omitted, please don't hesitate to put it out there in the comment section. The Learning World, like I always say, is your partner in raising outstanding children. Our hope and our belief is that we as parents will be able to raise the next generation that we will be proud of. We complain a lot about how the world is today. The family is the single most important unit in the community. Whatever we do in the family impacts our world. So let us all join our hands together to raise a generation that we will be proud of through proactive parenting. Thank you so much, and God bless you.